Spa-Francorchamps as we get set for our second race of the weekend for the Formula Renault Eurocup. First up, apologies for the delayed start at the end of the Lamborghini race just before we were due to go on air. There was a big crash and lots of damage to the barriers. Unfortunately, some marshals were involved in that as well, so our very best wishes to them. So the cars are on the grid. It's been a long wait for the drivers. They've been in the pit lane for around about an hour or so, ready to go. There is a very small chance that we'll get some rain within this race, but largely an 80% chance that it's going to be dry. But you never quite know here in the Ardennes. This morning we had a little bit of rain while I was going around the pits. It's not quite as hot as it has been. It was 37 degrees yesterday. It's just under 30 degrees now. Warm enough for these drivers who, as I mentioned yesterday, tend to lose something in the region of 2 litres of body fluids during the course of a race in these conditions. So the grid is set, and there is the driver that up until yesterday was leading the championship, who is starting on the front row of the grids for this race. One of the most, in fact, the most consistent qualifier of the year. He starts second on the grid for this one, alongside Logan Sargent, who's got his first pole position in his first season of the Formula Renault Eurocup. So Yiffy lost the championship lead yesterday to Christian Lundgaard, who was the race winner, and is now just a point behind him. There is your driver on the front row of the grid on pole position, the number 2 car of Logan Sargent. The qualifying session for this was actually held on Thursday night. There were more delays with more barrier repairs, and it was 7:30 on Thursday night that they qualified for this race. There's the winner of yesterday's race, Christian Lundgaard, who starts this one third on the grid. The Danish driver, the new championship leader after his second race victory of the season in yesterday's race, which was stopped quite close to the end of the race. There was a red flag, but it was a really not a dominant performance. He was not that far clear of the 3 drivers behind him, but he always looked in control of that race. And he said in the press conference yesterday that it's been a frustrating time for him after a great weekend in round 2 at Monza, where he took a win and a second. He hadn't been on the podium up until he was promoted to 3rd place in the last race before we came here, the Red Bull Ring. He finished 4th on the road, but got promoted up to 3rd when the driver who finished in 3rd place, Lorenzo Colombo, picked up a 10-second penalty for a jump start. Oscar Piastri got his first podium of the season, his first podium in the Formula Renault Eurocup yesterday. He's looked very quick all weekend long. The Ardennes team running him. Ben Salter, the team manager, had a chat with him this morning when the rain came down while we were waiting to get set up for the race, and he was saying that Oscar's a really good guy to work with, really nice, really easy to get along with, and he listens most of the time. So they've been impressed with him so far, having worked with him in the British Formula 4 Championship in 2017. So Logan Sargent there on pole position. What can he do here? Well, we'll find out, because pole position is great, but it's not the be-all and end-all here at Spa. As I mentioned yesterday in race 1, the fact is that only 32% of race winners here at Spa in the Formula Renault Eurocup have started the race from pole position. You give a massive toe to those behind, and as we saw yesterday, even though he made a good start to the race from pole position, his second pole of the year, the Italian driver that led them away, Lorenzo Colombo, as soon as he got onto the long Kemmel straights at the top of Eau Rouge and Raidillon, he just sucked the ball along, gave a massive toe, and they all started to fly past him. It wasn't long before he dropped down to 5th or 6th position very early on in the race. So that same problem is going to be faced now by Logan Sargent. Yiffy was pretty pleased with his 2nd place finish yesterday. Obviously not quite so pleased to lose the championship lead to Christian Lundgaard, but he would have liked maybe another lap or 2 if we got going again. The safety car came out after a big crash at the top of Raidillon for one of the Formula Renault NEC drivers, which are joining us this weekend, Sharon Scolari. So the safety car came out. It was pretty late in the race. There was not much point restarting, hence it was red flagged. But if he was pretty confident, had he not made one mistake which just dropped him back and then got him involved in a battle really for 2nd place with Oscar Piastri, he had the measure in terms of pace of Christian Lundgaard and was firing himself up, ready to have a go at him. So he is confident of his race pace from 2nd on the grid. We'll see how he gets on. Christian Lundgaard is obviously very quick from the 2nd row of the grid, as is Oscar Piastri, who said yesterday after the race, I'm really pleased with 3rd, but I think potentially the win was there, and Oscar was another driver that got into the lead of the race at one point. So that's the second row of the grid. Victor Martins and Max Futrell, the two RSGP teammates, and there are many RSGP cars this weekend. They are lining up on the third row. Victor, one of the most consistent finishers of the year so far, up until yesterday. I spoke with the team this morning. He dropped out very early on, was in and out of the pits a few times, and it was a sensor issue. That was the problem for Victor Martins' car yesterday, which caused him to have a DNF as one of the front-running drivers in the championship. That was a big blow to Victor, who's fourth in the championship standings, got his maiden win at the Red Bull Ring 1 weekend ago. The other ones that, the other big names that dropped out early on, we saw unfortunately the very early demise of Alex Peroni, one of our Monaco race winners. That was contacts on lap 1 with Charles Milesi. So contact with Charles Milesi was the reason, and he had rear suspension damage. It was an easy fix for the team, but it wasn't that much damage, they said, but it was enough to put him out of the race effectively. So as the cars go off onto the formation lap, Alex, that incident, by the way, was looked at by the officials, but it was deemed a racing incident, so there were no penalties applied. The other one that had big dramas early on yesterday was Neil Verhagen, who went really well, the Red Bull Junior driver, at the Red Bull Ring just a week ago, finishing in 4th place in race 1, his best finish so far in the series. And they've had all sorts of trouble with that car, as you see the grid on the screen, with Logan Sargent and Nifier on the front row, Christian Langard and Oscar Piastri on row 2. The third row of the grid, as mentioned, it's going to be Victor Martins and Max Futrell. And then on row 4, Thomas Maxwell, who picked up some good points yesterday, Lorenzo Colombo, who, despite starting on pole position, was only able to finish in 6th place. And Arthur Rougier got his first points of the season for Fortec. Richard Verschoor is alongside him to complete the top 10 on the grid. But just going back to the problems for Neil Verhagen, there have been many of them this weekend. He's been plagued with a car that has not been behaving itself really all the way through since free practice. So I spoke with the co-team owner, Simon Abadi, this morning, and who runs the team with his sister Sarah. And he said, yeah, we feel really bad for Neil that he's had all these problems. And they've basically almost rebuilt the car. So after practice, they changed the engine, they changed the gearbox. They still had the problem in qualifying, which is why Neil is a long way down the grid compared to where he normally is. He's starting this one back on the 10th row of the grid. And then they've changed the front wing, they've changed the rear wing, and they've narrowed it down. They think it's now the loom, the engine loom. So they've changed that as well. They changed the exhaust, even though they didn't think that was what it was. They've been trying to get to the crux of the problem. So essentially, the only things that haven't changed are the monocoque and the steering wheel, but they're positive that they've found a solution for that now. And as I say, a real shame for Neil, who's been going really well of late. He's a great racer and has still got work, even if the car's behaving for this race, he's still got a lot of work to do to get even into the points from the 10th row of the grid. And the other retirement that we saw yesterday with the car stopping out on track was Axel Matus, the Mexican driver for the ABF team run by ex-racer Adrian Valles, and that was a throttle sensor issue. That's the reason he stopped at this part of the circuit, actually on the run down towards the final chicane. So 27 minutes plus 1 lap because of the delays, a slightly reduced race distance, not 30 minutes but 27 minutes plus 1 lap, and it's going to be something in the region of 13 laps of racing, just under 100 kilometres of racing that we'll get around this 7.004 kilometre long circuit. The top speed around Spa-Francorchamps over 240 kilometres an hour. There's 36 gear changes per lap. The highest G-force you get as a driver is over 2G, and it's an incredibly quick circuit, as I'm sure you are well aware. 78% of the lap you are full throttle around here. So Chris Hartley here overlooking the start grid from the commentary position here. The sun beaming down upon us. There are blue skies. There are 1 or 2 dark clouds up above those, so that's always a concern. And trying to predict the weather here at Spa is like blowing up a balloon, deflating it, trying to guess which way it's going to go. It's almost impossible, and it can change in the blink of an eye. But for now, it's going to be a sunny start to race 2. It was a really lively start to the race yesterday. Let's see how we get on. So the grid is formed up. We are ready for 27 minutes plus 1 lap of racing. The green flag waved momentarily at the back of the grid to signal to the start line officials that we are ready to go. Red lights come on, and as soon as they go out, we are racing here in the Formula Renault Eurocup. It's a good start for Logan Sargent. He's got the run on towards La Source. If he is defending from Christian Lundgaard, his championship rival, just 1 point between them, and they're side by side on the way through La Source for the first time in the race. And you also got Oscar Piastri, who was on the outside on a massive shunt there, rolling over there. That is the number 42 car of our newcomer to the championship, Nikita Volkov. There was contact, and Volkov, who's only in his second weekend since coming into the championship, barrel roll. That was spectacular. Thankfully, he landed the right way up on all four wheels, as we see now the battle, the squabble for second place here between UVA, Christian Lundgaard, Victor Martins. Logan Sargent's got the race lead. Who's going to be in second place, though, at the end of the Kemmel Straight? Victor Martins has got the inside line in the number 4 car. He gets up the inside of UVA and should go second. He does. Christian Lundgaard stays behind him fourth. Thomas Maxwell's made a good start. Look in the JD car, the white and green machine, all over the back of them. Ronald Guzman over the curbs and over the grass. Thankfully out of the car is Nikita, but you can see the damage to the suspension as it landed, and the rear right side of the car, the rear suspension has collapsed, and not surprisingly, because that car is stranded on the circuit at La Source, the safety car is going to be deployed. So another frenetic start to racing here at Spa, and Logan Sargent did well, didn't he, to keep his lead when the odds are almost against you as a pole sitter on that run down the Kemmel Straight, but he was helped by the fact that there was this big tussle going on for second place. Right, a replay. Nikita in the Arden car, the number 42 car, red, white and blue, started on the 9th row of the grid. So maybe try and look in the background. There was the battle for second place. Wait for it, wait for it. The car is going to come flying into your shot in a second. There. Oof. Someone Chuse was involved in that. Sammy Taufik as well. And the whole right side, front and rear suspension is in a bad way. But thankfully, the most important thing is that Nikita Volkov, as we saw on the pictures, was out of the car, got out of the car on his own accord and looked okay. I'm sure he'll be given a check-up out of precaution, but these cars are very strongly built to the highest FIA specifications. All bars on the cars as well. The good thing was that it landed the right way up. So Logan Sargent leading the way behind the safety car. Victor Martins with that move at the end of the Kemmel Straight up the inside of UVA to go into second place. He third at the moment, Lundgaard fourth. And yeah, is a driver who, although he said yesterday it's too early to start talking about championship points, he knows that it's consistency that's going to be absolutely critical this year, because it's so wide open. We've had 11 races, we've had 7 different winners, we've had 19 different drivers in the points. We've had now 11 different drivers on the podium, and nobody's getting away with any sort of clear advantage. Only a few drivers have won more than one race. So it's the races where you get your 4th, 5th, 6th place finishes and keep bagging the points. They're the races that are going to make the difference this season. And Yiffy is very, very good at that. Only once this season has not finished in the points. 3rd, 2nd, 1st, 15th. 3rd, 4th, 4th, 8th, 5th and 2nd as a result so far. So huge amount of points. Christian Lundgaard has also been super consistent, and like if he has only had 1 non-point score finish, that was the time that he had at Silverstone. But Christian yesterday said, you know, it's been a frustrating time. We've had all these 5th place finishes. He had 4 5th place finishes on the trot at Silverstone, at Monaco, the Red Bull Ring, but back on the podium in the last 2 races. And he said we've just been missing out by a fraction. In qualifying was really where he put the problem down to. He said 3 times we had missed out being fastest in our group by a 1/10 of a second. Good news on the screen is that driver number 42 is okay. He's been taken to the medical centre, but okay, it says. So that's just an update on what we hoped was good news, positive news for Nikita Volkov in the car. Right, so that car will be cleared by the officials from the source. They'll sweep up any debris to make sure there are no bits of carbon on the track which could cause punctures. They'll make sure they're absolutely happy with it before they get back up to green flag conditions. But because it's a long lap here, and so they get behind the safety car, lots of time to be able to do that. They're only at turn 8 at the moment, so they are way around the lap. A rivage, there it is, as the track descends downhill towards the mighty left-hander at Podium, which they take in top gear at just about 195 kilometres an hour, and just a tap of the brakes going into it. So let's pull on there, and it's a real long downhill run into the corner, so the back end of the car is very, very light. So from Eau Rouge you start climbing, and it's a long climb all the way up to the middle of the chicane at Le Combe. Then it starts to descend gradually and then steeply once you get to Rivage, and then it's a downhill roller coaster ride, this huge undulation change that we have at Spa, which helped to make it one of the most fantastic circuits in the world. So the positions, Logan Sargent is leading the race, Victor Martins is second, Ivier dropped to third, Christian Lundgaard dropped to fourth, Thomas Maxwell made a very good start from the fourth row of the grid, from seventh up to fifth place. He's looked very quick this weekend. Arthur Rougier likewise has looked very quick off the back of his, well, he almost got into the points at the Red Bull Ring, and he did get into the points yesterday with a strong fourth place finish at the Fortec driver. So he's sixth. Seventh is Lorenzo Colombo, yesterday's pole sitter. Eighth place is Richard Verschoor, rejuvenated since the break. There he is in the number 12 car, back for his second season of the Formula Renault Eurocup. A very tough start for him, battling a way to get the car to his liking, really. And he said he wasn't quite there mentally, and he was starting to question his own driving, but they made some tweaks to the car, and it really does suit him now, and he immediately looks back to the Richard Verschoor that we knew would be a real contender for race wins this year. Former Formula 4 Northern European Zone champion, former Spanish champion, karting maestro, ninth in this championship last year with a podium finish in the last round at Barcelona. He raced with the MP Motorsport squad, the Dutch squad. He's a Dutch driver, comes from Benschop near Utrecht, just 17 years of age. Very tall Dutch driver, and he switched to the Joseph Kaufmann racing team, managed by Lars Kaufmann, and there you see the number 43 car of Sami Taufik, the Moroccan driver, number 43 Arden car being towed away. That was one of the cars involved in that incident. That's a real shame for Sami, because that was his best qualifying, his best grid of the year so far. He managed to qualify in 16th place. The drivers, one of the rookie drivers in his first season of the championship. So Sami would have fancied his chances from 16th of potentially getting into the points here, but it's not to be, I'm afraid, as he got caught up in that incident. So 9th place at the moment is Oscar Piastri. He really missed out. So it started okay at the source, but on the run down the Camel Straight, he was swamped, and Oscar, who started on the second row of the grid, down to 9th place in the number 41 car. Max Futrell didn't have a great start either, third in the championship standings. He fell from 6th down to 10th place, so he's just about in the points at the moment. Frank Bird, who picked up his second points finish of the season last weekend at the Red Bull Ring after a great battle. He dropped back on the first lap. I spoke to him at the start of the weekend. He said he loved the battle. It was the battle of the race, involving him and about 3 other drivers battling in and around the points in the top 10. So we choose the driver that just missed out in the end and dropped to 11th and missed out on his first points finish. Jono Opmeer is matching what he did yesterday on his return to the championship. Raced in the championship last year, did winter testing, couldn't get the budget together, and has only just joined the championship a week ago at the Red Bull Ring, but he is in 12th place, which is where he finished yesterday. Alicia Martinez, who has had his joint best grid of the season so far as well, the multiple Spanish karting champion, who's come straight into cars, straight into the Formula Renault Eurocup Championship. He's just outside the points in 13th. Jean Milesi is struggling at the moment. He didn't have a great Red Bull Ring. Milesi has slipped to 6th place in the championship. He was a driver that was really bang on form with victories at Silverstone and then famously at Monaco. So he came into the weekend at the Red Bull Ring in Austria last weekend in 4th place in the standings, but he was only able to get a single point there, 10th in race 1, 13th in race 2. He only got a point yesterday for 10th place, and Charles Milesi is out of the points at the moment in the RHGP car, the French driver in 14th position. Alex Peroni in 15th, 16th is the Malaysian driver Najir Razak, and the safety car is coming in on this lap. So the cars at the moment are making their way through turn 16, Stavelot. and the safety car has picked up the pace. So Logan Sargent, the drivers of course all get the message, not just by the fact that the safety car has put its lights out, but by the fact that the teams and the officials will have communicated that the safety car is coming in through the radio system that they will of course have. So Logan Sargent is now backing it up on the run through Blanchimont and down towards the bus stop chicane. No overtaking until you get across the start-finish line. Logan Sargent controlling the pace here, a race winner in the British Formula 4 Championship. Can he become a two-time race winner in the Formula Renault Eurocup, the winner of the opening round of the season at Le Castellet at Paul Ricard? He gets the race back underway then, so green flag conditions once more with 16.5 minutes to go. Look at Thomas Maxwell in the background, showing his nose to try and find a way past yesterday's winner, Christian Lundgaard. There is Oscar Piastri in the number 41 machine, right on the tail of Richard Verschoor, but they're battling for the lower points at the moment in 8th and 9th positions respectively. Good to see everybody coming safely through the field this time at the source, with no dramas to report so far. So Logan Sargent at the top of Radion down the Camel Straight. He's got a bit of a gap here. Maxwell's the one to watch. Thomas Maxwell is right underneath the rear wing of Christian Lundgaard and now pulls to the outside line. That's not going to work, so he'll have to maybe dart to the inside. And no, that line is covered as well. So is he going to brave it around the outside here? It's wheel to wheel. A lock up from Christian Lundgaard. We saw that a few times yesterday. He was struggling with the brake bias on the car, but he holds on to 4th place for the time being. Lorenzo Colombo getting a bit out of shape just behind as well, as he was trying to find his way through and gain a place on Arthur Rouge, I think it was. There is Max Futrell in the number 1 car, and right with him is Oscar Piastri and Frank Bird in the mix as well. So all tightening up there at the tail end of the top 10. Futrell really, I think, damaged levitation this weekend. He's looked red hot in every single session, practice, qualifying, races, everywhere we've been so far this season, but it hasn't quite got the car underneath him, I don't think, here this weekend. There is Victor Martins, who needs the points after a rare DNF for him yesterday, and he's going well in 2nd place. He started to close the gap to Logan Sargent, the race leader. FIA, the driver 2nd in the standings. 3rd at the moment would be enough to move him back to the top of the championship table, with 6 of the 10 weekends complete. And then you've got Christian Lundgaard, number 31, the red helmet there. Thomas Maxwell, not too far back, but having just fallen away a little bit after that big luck that he had on the run into the Le Combe chicane at the end of the Camel Straight. So Maxwell going well, and Martins is really closing up here. He's had a good run through Blanchimont, coming down towards the heaviest braking zone of the lap, down towards the bus stop chicane, clattering the curbs there. A little dip there, a little bit of camber on the way out of the corner, and then onto the start-finish straight. He should be far enough clear not to get too worried up at La Source, but at Camel Straight it might be a little bit different. Alexander Smoliar there, number 22, ahead of Axel Matthews, and the Red Bull liveried car of the Red Bull Junior. Neil Verhagen was just behind, the American driver trying to get in the mix. It's an American driver that leads the race though. World Karting Champion just 3 years ago, the first American to win the World Karting Championship since 1978. Logan Sargent fires his way up to the top of the hill now in the RHGP car, the team that leads the team standings. And here comes Thomas Maxwell again. He's looking very feisty here. This has been pretty much his strongest weekend of the season so far, but he's always there or thereabouts. Maxwell already through on Christian Lundgaard, so the pressure paid off. Now Lundgaard has got fellow Renault Sport Academy driver Arthur Rouge to worry about, number 87. They're in different teams. Arthur in the British team, the Fortec team. Richard Dutton's mightily successful single-seater team, who had a string of Formula Renault UK title wins. I think they won 8 out of 10 years they won at one point. And he's looking very rapid this weekend, Arthur Rouge, although he gets a bit wide there on the exit. Careful not to upset the officials for track limits. He's got Lorenzo Colombo in the number 61 JD Motorsport car all over him. Italian car, Italian driver. And he is somebody that's very much going to be in the mix, even though he's a rookie, for the championship title this season, you sense, and definitely for a race win at some point. He's had podiums, no race win yet for Lorenzo. There is Oscar Piastri. He's still battling away with Frank Bird for the final place in the points, for 10th position at the moment. There's a bit of a gap back then to 11th place, no, sorry, 12th place, which is Jarno Otmir. Alicia Martinez still in 13th. So they continue on through the lap with just about half distance now, 12 and a quarter minutes on the clock. The gap between the top two at the line was 0.4 of a second. There is Richard Verschoor in 8th place. Max Futrell is 9th now, ahead of Piastri and Bird. So we saw them battling for 10th because Max Futrell was able to gain a place. They're all starting to fan out here, and Max Futrell getting onto the tail of Richard Verschoor. Lorenzo Colombo in the white car was trying to find a way past the number 87 of Arthur Rouget. They all got side by side, but nobody made a move in the end. So Logan Sargent still leads, 0.6 of a second. He stretches his advantage by about 0.2 of a second. Then it's Martins Yeh, and then Maxwell 4th after that move that we saw down the Camel Straight. Lundgaard down to 5th place, Rouget in 6th position. Colombo right with him in 7th, Verschoor 8th, Futrell 9th, Piastri in 10th place. Eliseo Martinez has gained another place up to 12th now. He's moved ahead of Jarno Opmeer. So Eliseo Martinez looking for his first points of the season. He's 12th, he's got to find 2 more positions. Now, the top of Radion, here is the problem for Thomas Maxwell. He now gives a huge tow to Christian Lundgaard, the championship leader. Pulls to the outside. Of course, now he hits the air and his progress will be halted. Maxwell knows he's got the inside line. Careful not to outbrake yourself here. Lorenzo Colombo is ahead of Arthur Rouget in the background, so he's fending off the number 87 car, got ahead of him. Then it's Max Futrell and Richard Verschoor joining the party as well. So close out there in the Formula Renault Eurocup. It's a wide open season, it's a wide open race here, and lots of overtaking we enjoyed yesterday as they go down through one of the most impressive corners on this hugely impressive circuit, Rivage. And they make their way out through there, continue the descent downhill and down towards Pouhon now. Hold on to your hats, just a dab of the brakes. All the G putting on the car, still running downhill. Careful not to run too wide on the exit. Trying to set yourself up then for the chicane. A right-left flick through Le Fan, which then leads back out towards Campus and Stavelot, which is another corner you've got to get absolutely right, because if you are slow on the exit to this next corner, Stavelot, it's going to kill you down the long run down through the final sector, because they don't touch the brakes again until they get to the bus stop chicane. Easy flat through the right-hand kink at Paul Frère, and easy flat through the left-hander at Blanchimont at over 230 kilometres an hour. There is Lorenzo Colombo then, the number 61 car. Now up into the top 6. Arthur Rouget has got company. That was Max Futrell in the background. I think that was right on his tail as the top 3 start to bunch up together. 4th and 5th nose to tail as well, with Lundgaard ahead, back ahead of Thomas Maxwell. So they switched around. Colombo in 6th place, 7th and 8th don't change there, but Max Futrell is looking pretty pacey in the race. On the brakes into La Source, the race leader Logan Sargent. Here's the squabble for 4th place. We've swapped around a couple of times here, slipstreaming past one another, but at the moment it is the Danish driver with his nose clear of Thomas Maxwell, but about to relinquish his championship lead. Will you be able to hold on to your championship lead tomorrow, was one of the questions in the press conference. Hold on to it. I'd like to extend it, said Christian Lundgaard. He's only got one thing in his mind this year, it's winning the championship in his first attempt. But at the moment, he is going to drop back behind if he earns the points. He's having a run here, though, and look at this for the lead of the race. Victor Martins has gone through. He's slipstreamed past Logan Sargent, so the number 2 car down to 2nd place for the first time in the race. EVA in 3rd place, still right with them. If he didn't have the best of results at the Red Bull Ring a week ago, but his race pace was very good. Qualifying, he made a mistake, he said, in his first qualifying run, and then in the second one, they always try to set the car up so it's quick at the end of the session, and he didn't go out. It was on a drying track as well. He didn't go out as early as some of the others, and of course when he tried to do his fastest lap, that was when the red flags came out. Drive-through penalty for car number 21, non-respect of the safety car procedure, and that means that Neil Verhagen, his weekend goes from bad to worse, I'm afraid. So Neil, with a weekend to forget after a super drive and some great overtakes at the Red Bull Ring last week, has had a nightmare weekend and no points at all for the Red Bull Junior driver here in Spa. So just starting to fan out a little bit. There is the number 1 car of Max Futrell, last year's rookie champion in the Formula Renault Eurocup, and the winner of 3 races so far this season. At the Castellet, in the 3rd weekend of the season at Silverstone, his home track, and another at the Red Bull Ring, but only a half points race because the race didn't quite get to 75% race distance before the rain came So 3 race wins for Max Futrell, most winning driver so far. Lundgaard's had 2 wins, Malesi's had 2 wins as well. They're the only drivers that have won more than once so far this season. It's a big long train of cars from 4th back, isn't it? Down all the way down to the midfield, really. At the head of the field though, Victor Martins leads the way out of the points yesterday for only the 2nd time all season long. He's 4th in the championship, 41 points behind the championship leader, and if he can win this one, that would be 2 wins in the last 3 races for Victor. He's had a really solid first half of the season before the summer break. Lots of top 6 finishes. His best was a 4th place at Le Castellet. Then he started back in the podiums, 2 podiums at Monaco. That win last time out at the Red Bull Ring. Now, Max Futrell is going to have a go here down the Camel Straight. Can't really see from the pictures, but it's still climbing uphill here, all the way up until Le Combe. And Maxwell has got back ahead of Lundgaard, so the number 62 car back up a place here into 4th spot. Did Max Futrell get through? No, he didn't. The green wing mirrors on the car, the bluish helmet. Max Futrell, number 1, still sits behind Martin Rougier. Tough first half of the season, 1 or 2 mistakes, 1 or 2 bits of bad luck, but he's always had the speeds, and they're starting to harness that now. These are not easy cars to learn to drive. Arthur was a terrific driver in the French Formula 4 Championship last year, which he won, but it's said often that if you can drive one of these, you can drive anything. They're a unique car, they're very twitchy, and you have to be incredibly accurate with them. So Arthur maybe having to just adapt his driving style a little bit. It's coming together for him now. There's Lundgaard, number 31. The top 3 have broken well clear now. They're a couple of seconds ahead of this battle for 4th place that you are currently looking at. Led now by Thomas Maxwell, the 19-year-old from Darwin. The British fans may have seen him a couple of years ago racing in the BRDC Formula 3 Championship, the Spa-Francorchamps racing team. He got on the podium in that. Did some races in the Formula Renault Northern European Cup last year with the Tech 1 team, and finished 16th in this championship. His best result last year was a 5th place finish at Monza round 2, racing with the Tech 1 team. Switched to the JD Motorsport squad, the Italian squad this year. So there are our 3 leaders. Victor Martin starting to edge away from Logan Sargent, who's still got Olivier right with him. This is the battle for 4th place, about to go over the start-finish line. What's this? Richard Verschoor going nose to tail with Oscar Piastri. Piastri in 10th place. He had slipped out of the points briefly behind Frank Bird, but he's got back ahead of him. So the number 41 car, be disappointed with this after a good grid, and he just noses into the back of Richard Verschoor's car as they go through La Source. So just a little tap there. Hopefully there's no damage to either of them. I think it'll be okay. Just getting a bit too close for comfort there. They're great shots. The cars come over Radiol at the top of Eau Rouge and back onto the Camel Straight. Back up to top gear and using all of the 210 brake horsepower as EVA now gets a run. Looking in the mirrors is Logan Sargent, who had a really good start to the race yesterday, then fell back a little bit. He still finished in the points. Look at this, wheel to wheel again for 4th place as Lundgaard tries to come around the outside of Maxwell, who locks up a wheel and bends him off all over the curbs, and getting a bit twitchy was Lundgaard. 4th place looks to be the best result he can get now, with the top 3 well clear. But that has succeeded in bunching them up still further. 3 3/4 minutes plus 1 lap left on the clock. Sargent in trying to defend that 2nd place, which he successfully did. Has lost even more time now to the race leader, Victor Martins. So Martins there coming through. Top 3 make their way through corner. Maxwell 4th. Lundgaard in the number 31 car there in 5th place, and falling back away now from Thomas Maxwell. Started his single-seater career in the Australian Formula 4 Championship. There is Lorenzo Colombo, 3rd in the Italian F4 Championship last year, battling the mighty Prima team, who have dominated Italian Formula 4 and European Formula 3 for the last few seasons. Running a bit wide there, careful not to run too wide is Christian Lundgaard. There have been lots of lap times lost in practice and qualifying for various drivers for track limits. So something they're keeping a keen eye on here. Maxwell definitely edging clear now. Max Futrell trying desperately to find a way past Arthur Rougier here in the battle for 7th place The two Renault Sport Academy drivers are going to be really close, under braking on the way to the bus stop chicane. Lorenzo Colombo trying to have a go at Christian Lundgaard here as well. Can't find a way through, closes the door. Just in time to stop Arthur Rougier coming through. He's surrounded by Renault Sport Academy drivers here. Lorenzo Colombo getting stuck in the action, can't get past. Rougier was delayed slightly. It means Max Futrell gets alongside him. They'll weave and dart to try and either defend or attack their positions, but nobody gets through. And it's as you were on the way through the La Source hairpin. Great squabble this, with just over 2 minutes plus 1 lap to go in the race. Victor Martins leading by 0.8 of a second now. A general message comes on the screen: drivers must respect track limits. You're not kidding, but they are giving it everything here. You've got to push to the limits, and look at this now, this battle for 5th place between Lorenzo Colombo, number 61, and number 31. Christian Lundgaard, Rougier just behind Futrell. 4 of them coming up the cab all straight. Hold on to your hats. Look how far clear Thomas Maxwell is all of a sudden. He's on his own now as they come through. Colombo's got the inside line, but he can't get through, and it's fantastic move that from Arthur Rougier. Went around the outside of everybody and gains 2 places. So Rougier to the front of that group now in the 87 car. Colombo gains 1 and loses 1. The one that really does lose out is Christian Lundgaard in the number 31 car, who's desperate to get back through now, trying the outside line at Rivage. That's never going to work, and he's got to be careful not to give his own position up to Max Futrell here. Wow, what a race this is turning into for 5th position this now. Martins lead, Sargent 2nd, Yade 3rd. Maxwell currently running in a very impressive 4th place, the Australian driver. And then this mighty squabble that we've just seen changing for 5th place. Thomas stays 4th. It'll be the best result of the season so far, to follow on from the 6th place finish that he got in the opening weekend at the Castellet. He's got lots of top 10 finishes, several 7th place finishes, but I'd say this has been his strongest all-round weekend so far. And a really good battle that he had, of course, with Christian Lundgaard. Took him a while to get through, got through, lost the position again, got through again, and now has pulled well clear. Maxwell with a personal best lap last time around as well. He's as quick as Yiffier in 3rd, but might not have time to close the gap. So Colombo has started to pull away from them now. Lundgaard coming under far from Max Futrell. We can't afford to lose any more places here. It's a frustrating race this is turning into for the MP Motorsport driver, who logs up now. He's struggling with that car and struggling with the brakes once again. Max Futrell all over the back of it. Richard Bishaw there, and Oscar Piastri, the 41 car, keen to join the action. 7th, 8th, 9th and 10th all together on the way into the La Source hairpin. Oscar Piastri hogging the inside line to make sure Richard Bishaw can't get past him, and he gains that place. A 9th place for Oscar. Pulled off a really good move at the La Source on Yiffier yesterday. And they're still running nose to tail just behind as well. Frank Bird and Alicia Martinez. Martinez having his best run of the season so far in 12th place in the ABF car. Here comes Max Futrell then on Christian Lundgaard. These two came together off the line at Monza. Futrell's going to get through easily though. Just got a far better run coming out through Radion. Oh, and that's Arthur Rougier and Colombo pretty much together now as well. So Colombo's very rapidly caught onto the tail of the 87 car. He's left Futrell and Lundgaard for dead. They make their way now out down towards Rivage. The clock has run out. Remember, it's plus 1 lap at the end of the time running out. Victor Martins is looking very, very secure indeed, though. He's 1.8 seconds clear all of a sudden of Logan Sargent in 2nd place. Logan is about 6/10 clear. Yiffier in 3rd, Maxwell 4th, Rougier 5th now. Colombo right with him though in 6th place. Then it's Futrell, Lundgaard 7th and 8th. And there, I'm afraid, is Jarno Opmeer with suspension damage. The front left lug is clear off the tarmac, and what had been a pretty strong weekend up until that point is going to end for him, the Dutch driver, I'm afraid, in disappointment. But he's performed well this weekend after frustrations with all sorts of engine problems on his return to the championship a week ago at the Red Bull Ring. There then is your race leader, Victor Martins, looking very comfortable, and as he did at the Red Bull Ring where he won that 2nd race of the weekend on the front of the grid, he looks composed, he looks smooth, he's been unruffled here. He was patient in getting past Logan Sargent. Yiffier just showing his nose, is too far back on the way into the bus stop chicane though to try and do anything about Logan Sargent. So it's going to have to be settling for 3rd place at the moment as they come through now to start the Last lap of the race. First, second, third. Fourth on his own, Maxwell. And then you've got about 10 cars in a long, long line here. It's still Rouget in 5th place. Colombo in 6th position. Futrell trying to get involved in this in 7th place. Now, we saw the Jarno Opmeer car, number 33, with suspension damage. An incident involving him and Alex Peroni is being investigated after the race. That was at turn 5, apparently. So that's at the top of Radion, so that would have been a mighty scary moment. Remember, those two are teammates as well, the MP Motorsport squad. This is a difficult weekend here so far at Spa. A weekend to forget for him, and hopefully he'll get back on track next time out. Right, if he has not given up on 2nd place here, Logan Sargent has fended him off so far. He's got through one of the big opportunities for Yiffi. He's got through the Kemmel Straight on the run down towards the Con. They're at Rivage at the moment, and he's got about 2, maybe 3 lengths clear in the squabble over 2nd place. And then with the changes inside the top 10, Martinez still 12th. Bird 11th, they're still just outside the points, but not too far behind. Oscar Piastri is holding on to the solitary point for 10th place at the moment. Victor Martins will move himself on to 127 points, close the gap to those ahead of him. Lundgaard, Yates, Futrell, the only drivers ahead of him in the championship points. If he is going to move back into the championship lead here, he'll amass 15 points for 3rd place. Christian Lundgaard will only get 4 for 8th place at the moment, so he will give himself a 10-point lead, I reckon, in the championship at the end of the weekend. So all good for Yiffi at the moment. Is he going to risk it for a go at Logan Sargent? And more to the point, is Logan going to give him the opportunity, because he's driven really, really well here, Logan. Looks like he's looked after the tyres. Victor Martins is on course, though, for his 2nd race victory of the season. His 2nd race victory in the Formula Renault Eurocup as a rookie driver, and he's 2nd in 3 races. There's the checkered flag. There's your race winner here at Spa. Victor Martins takes the flag. 2nd place to Logan Sargent. 3rd place to Yiffi, and the championship lead should be his again. Best result of the season so far for Thomas Maxwell in 4th place. Colombo's crossed the line in 5th. There is Raul Guzman locking up and getting contact with Alex Smoliar, and right at the end of the race, the Mexican driver is off the road with damage to the car, as just ran deep into the corner. Smoliar got alongside in the 2 made contacts, and poor Raul Guzman, who was running in 15th place up until that point, I think he's going to hobble it across the line, but it's going to be out of the points. He was out of the points anyway, but a frustrating end to the race for him. Neil Verhagen, hugely frustrating weekend, just crossing the line there in the number 21 car after his visit to the pits. So, an action-packed race, that. Victory to Victor Martins, his 2nd of the season. Logan Sargent in 2nd place. Yiffi rounds out the podium. Maxwell in 4th. Colombo crossed the line in 5th. Rouget 6th. Futrell 7th. Lundgaard 8th. Piastri in 9th. Richard Verschoor got a point in 10th place. Frank Bird just missing out on the points in 11th. Martinez with his best drive of the season so far. Good drive that to 12th place. Milesi disappointing in 13th. Loveraz 14th. Razak in 15th place. Smoliar moved up to 16th with that incident right at the end of the race. Mudd 17th. And then Phil Hill, the first of the non-regular Eurocup drivers, is here as part of the Formula Renault Northern European Cup, the NEC. So the German driver finishing in 18th place, Jultis 19th. And another NEC driver, the Argentinian Gabriel Gandulia, who was 7th in the Northern European Cup coming into this weekend, rounding out the top 20. That incident at the end of the race being investigated, but there is a jubilant Victor Martins, who stands on the top step, at the top of the car rather. He will be on the top step of the podium very shortly, and gets high fives all around. Good to see him congratulating Yiffi, and a very popular winner, Victor Martins. Great driver, nice guy as well, and it's been a mixed weekend for him. Never really got into it yesterday with the car problem that he had, putting him out. Well, he finished the race, but he was a number of laps down. But he is now back on the top step of the podium, and he's very much in title contention here, having closed the gap back up to Lundgaard and Futrell. So he is, I guess you say, the form driver at the moment. He's won both of the 2 races that he's had no car troubles with, and Victor Martins now will step onto the scales to get weighed, adding his weight to the weight of the car to make sure they're still above the minimum weight limit, something you have to be very careful of, especially when the drivers are losing over 1 kilogram in fluids in these very hot conditions. It's a bit more overcast than it's been, but it's still warm, very warm, at 30 degrees out there. So joy all around here for Victor Martins, for the RHGP squad, who've taken yet another race victory. In fact, they've taken another 1-2. I think that's their 4th 1-2 finish for the RHGP team of the season. The team co-founded by Thibaut de Merindol and Cyril Comte back in 2011. They only came into the Formula Renault Eurocup last year. They won the team's championship. They're winning it again this year. And they're also leading the Formula Renault Northern European Cup. So they're the form team at the moment. Certainly not the only team that have taken race wins, with MP Motorsport up there second in the championship, taking wins as well. So a fantastic drive once more from Victor Martins, coming back from the huge disappointment of yesterday, and Dakota is now catching up with your race winner.
What a super cool race. Congratulations. I bet you're happy with that.
Yeah, I'm very happy. Thank you very much. No, it was just a crazy race. After a good start, yes, I got a P2 yes after Radio, and after I just managed to to have a gap between me and Yife, and at the end I overtook Logan, and now I take the win. So I think it's just unbelievable.
Do you think you've done your brother proud?
Yeah, I think so. He's so proud of me. Just my family is, I think, so proud of me. Just I have to keep it up and just stay focused for the end of the season.
Congratulations.
So very happy Victor Martins there, and quite rightly so. It was a very controlled drive, that patient in getting the leads away from Logan Sargent, who led 3/4 of that race from pole position. Good drive by him as well to take second place. VA up there again. That's his 7th podium finish of the year. VA in 3rd. Thomas Maxwell, a strong drive through to 4th after that really good battle he had with Christian Lundgaard in the middle of the race. Lorenzo Colombo up there again, fighting hard in 5th. Artur Rougier, his by a mile best weekend of the season so far. The points in both races: 4th yesterday, 6th today. Max Futrell will be a little bit circumspect about 7th, but he keeps bagging the points. He outscored Christian Lundgaard in 8th. Oscar Piastri got back up to 9th in the end with that move at La Source, and Richard Bashaw rounded out the points. Bird coming home in 11th, and Martinez with his best drive of the season so far in 12th place. Charles Milesi, a disappointing weekend, his 2nd disappointing weekend on the trot, continues to fall away from the championship leaders. 13th for him, Lovrad 14th, Najee Razak with one of his best results so far in 15th. Smoliar, that incident between him and Guzman is being investigated after the race from the final corner. 16th at the moment though, Munoz 17th, then Hill 18th, Surtis and Gattas round out the top 20, Gandulia, Verhagen, Guzman and Otmir in the rest of the finishing positions, although Otmir didn't quite make the end of the race. A DNF as well for Alex Peroni. Axel Matus, his 2nd DNF of the weekend. He was caught out in that big start line incident with Sami Taufik and Nikita Volygov, who went airborne, but we're hearing is absolutely okay. So dramatic 2nd race of the weekend here at Spa. We've got plenty more racing to come in what is a hugely competitive championship. We've got a few weeks break now after this back-to-back run, but at the end of August, on the 31st of August, the weekend starts at the Hungaroring, the 7th weekend of the season, as we travel to Budapest. A couple of weeks after that in mid-September, from the 13th to the 16th of September, we'll be at the Nürburgring in Germany. Back-to-back weekends once again, because the week after that it's to Hockenheim for the penultimate round of the championship, and then we have a short few-week break before they gather themselves back up together and head to Spain, to the Circuit de Catalunya and Barcelona for what could well be the championship decider on the 19th, 20th and 21st of October. Some collective tests before that final round as well. And the way it's going, you would not be surprised if the championship goes right down to the wire this season. Hugely competitive, hugely entertaining racing as well. The drivers are just gathering their breath, having a bit of water and toweling away the sweat. You can just see there the dark blue race suit, EVA, the Chinese driver, who has now, I reckon, got himself back up into the championship points lead ahead of Lundgaard. Futrell will still be in 3rd place at the end of the weekend. And a Elan, everybody who looks after the drivers and looks after the championship, just making sure everybody's ready. We're going to get the top three. There'll be a rookie winning trophy as well, and there'll also be a trophy for the winning team, which is once more the R-Ace GP squad. But like yesterday, the rookie winning trophy is going to go to the overall race winner, because Victor Martins is new to this championship. We have Christian Lundgaard, the overall winner, as one of the, I think it's 4 different rookies that have been overall race winners now so far this season. Logan Sargent, Charles Milesi, Victor Martins and Christian Lundgaard, the 4 rookies that have all taken overall race victories so far this season. So FEA will move on to 157 points, the championship lead. For his 7th visit onto the podium. 2 podiums here this weekend, 2nd yesterday and 3rd today. He missed out on podiums at the Red Bull Ring and Monaco, but he had loads of them in the first part of the season. And here he is once more for Joseph Kaufmann Racing, up onto the podium. 2nd place to Logan Sargent after a dreadful weekend. All sorts of bad luck for Logan a week ago in Austria. He'll be very, very pleased with how it's gone. And look, a jig of dads of joy there for the race winner, Victor Martins, as we now get the French national anthem for a race winner.
Voilà pour
the Marseillaise plays at Spa. It's a French race winner here in Belgium, and you can see how much that means to Victor. He's propelled himself over the last couple of weekends very much into the championship fight. Just a pity for him and for the team that had that sensor problem with the car yesterday. Benoit Nogier from Renault Sports presents the 3rd place trophy to a pleased FEA. He's stringing together a real championship charge here. Logan Sargent, terrific drive by him, battling performance to 9th place yesterday. There's 2 retirements at the Red Bull Ring. It was Silverstone round 3 the last time we saw Logan on the podium, with a couple of 2nd place finishes. And there is an overjoyed Victor Martins, who takes the winner's trophy. We'll get another bit of silverware in a moment as well, because he's also the rookie winner. We'll start finding a home for all these trophies now, and you suspect there'll be many, many more to come, not just this season, but in the future, for these talented young drivers. Well done to our winning team as well there. The team's trophy presented to the R-Ace GP squad, who've had another stellar weekend here in the Formula Renault Eurocup. So tremendous stuff here as the drivers pose for the photos, and what was an action-packed race. So let's take a look at some of the highlights from race 2. The drivers trying to keep cool on the grid after their long wait to get out on circuit, but it was well worth the wait because we had a cracking race. The lights went out then on a slightly reduced race distance, and Logan Sargent from pole position got the run on everybody into the source, but there was this hair-raising moment for Nikita Volygov. 3 cars involved at a turn 1 incident at La Source, all of them okay. That brought about the safety car midway through lap number 1 for a couple of laps, and then we got the green flags back underway, and Logan Sargent did a perfect job of getting the restart sorted, with Victor Martins just behind in 2nd. One of the most entertaining parts of the race was this squabble that we had for a number of laps between Thomas Maxwell and Christian Lundgaard. Thomas eventually getting through, but Christian Lundgaard fought back, and they swapped positions a couple of times over those laps. That really allowed the top 3 to break clear. There's a long, long line of cars just behind as well. Logan Sargent had controlled the pace. He didn't make any mistakes, but when you're at the head of the field on the Camel Straight, you give a big toe to the drivers behind, and there wasn't much he could do about this as Victor Martins just drove around the outside of him and into the lead of the race, a lead which he would not relinquish right through to the checkered flag. After losing time at the start of the race, Oscar Piastri battled hard, a bit too close to Richard Verschoor, but got himself into the points in the end. Max Futrell was the next to have a go at Christian Lundgaard, who lost several positions as he struggled with a locking up car and locking up brakes. Jarno Opmeer, after what we believe was contact with Alex Peroni with a broken suspension, dropped out late on. But Victor Martins, once he got the lead of the race, cruised to the checkered flag and his second race win in 3 to put himself closer to the top 3 in the championship. It wasn't over yet though. There was this contact between Rolf Guzman and Alex Smoliar on the final corner of the final lap. That's been investigated. No dramas though for Victor Martins, your race winner. Tremendous drive here at Spa-Francorchamps to take his second win of the season.
Good man, good man.